Good morning. How is everybody this morning? I'm just going to shut this tab down. It's Monday. I'm so happy to have you guys on here with me. This is day number 18 of my series of 21 Days of Lives, where I have been sharing all kinds of self-care and wellness and positivity tips and how to make ourselves a priority and all that good stuff. I'm just going to quickly share this over to my group. And if you're on with me live, go ahead and say hi in the comments. Let me know that you're here. I've got a really, really good one for you today. So stay tuned here. Let me just share this really quickly. I hope you all had a good weekend. I shared on my personal page yesterday, my kids love animals, and we have like the max amount of pets we're allowed to have already. So they like to go to the animal shelter and play with the cats and stuff. So they went Saturday actually and picked out a bunch of Christmas gifts for the animal shelter critters, and we went and spent some time with them yesterday. That was fun. Let me I cannot think and talk at the same time for some reason. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that was fun, and they were really happy to do that. So if you did something super fun over the weekend, let me know what that was. I'd love to hear about it. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Leah Borski. I'm the best-selling author of the book Eat to Beat Stress, and I'm a stress relief and nutrition coach for ambitious women. And today, with it being a week away from Christmas, I'm sure most of us are kind of feeling that tension of like the deadline is coming and we still have so much to do, and there's so much still that we want to do. And all those things. And so this time of year especially, I find that it's really common for us to kind of fall into that trap of feeling like we're not enough. There's so much to do, so much to do. Our attention is being pulled in a million different directions on top of all the stuff that we normally have to do. So for those of you who don't know me, I am a work-at-home mom. I have been for 12 years. I homeschool my 2 kids, and so I have a lot on my plate, and I tend to work with women who have a lot on their plates too. Maybe not homeschooling, maybe not working a business, but more than just, you know, being a mom or having a job or things like that. Like most of us have a gazillion things on our plate already, and then the holidays kind of like bombard us on top of all of that. And so especially at Christmas time, all the extras tend to fall on our shoulders. So, you know, getting out the Christmas cards and doing the shopping for gifts and running around and baking and sending gifts and doing all this stuff, and it gets exhausting and overwhelming. And at any time when we feel like we're not enough to keep up with all this that we have to do, the number one thing that we need to do is prioritize. So it's time for us to stop saying yes when we really feel like saying no to some things. It's time to quit running around like a crazy person, doing things that really don't matter to us, that really, you know, we tend to kind of do this out of feeling guilty or fear of judgment or wanting approval from other people. And it's time to let that go and ask yourself what really deserves the majority of my attention right now. And be honest and trust yourself, and trust that what comes up for you is the truth of what you actually want and need, and then honor that. So set your priorities and then honor them. So what happens is when we stop trying to be everything to everyone, we feel like enough because we're giving the best parts of ourselves to the things that matter most to us and the people that matter most to us. And isn't that really what we all want? We don't want to give this little teeny sliver of what's ever left over to our family after everything else is done, right? So what I want you to do today is list out your top 3 priorities, write them down, and then over the coming week, at least, hopefully longer than that, remind yourself of those when things pop up, because life is life, and unexpected emergencies and urgencies and situations and circumstances that we don't plan for, that we don't have time set aside for, are going to pop up. That's just how it goes. So expect the unexpected, of course, but be prepared to keep in mind those top 3 things. And does this fit with that? If I do this other thing that just popped up that I wasn't expecting, am I still going to have the time left to take care of these top 3 things, right? So this reminds me of a story. I read a lot of like personal development type books. And I can't remember even where I heard this story anymore, because I've read so many books and watched so many podcasts and TED Talks and all this stuff. So I can't remember exactly where I heard this one. But it's about this instructor who is standing in front of his class of college students, overachievers, highly intelligent, ambitious students, and he holds up this huge mason jar, and he puts a dozen like really big rocks until they come up to the top of this jar. And then he asks the students, is this jar full? And they all say, yeah, it's full to the top. And he says, okay, let's try again. So then he takes a jar of gravel and pours it in, and it all kind of filters in around the bigger rocks until it comes to the top. And he asks the students again, is this jar full? And they say, oh yeah, now for sure it's really full. And he says, okay, how about now? So he takes a jar of sand and he pours the sand until it weaves and filters through and blocks every little crack between the big rocks and the gravel, and the jar is completely full to the very top. And he says, now is the jar full? And they say, yeah, now the jar is really full. And so then he takes some water and he pours in the water, and it oozes in between every little crack, every little spot that could possibly be filled is full now with the big rocks and the gravel and the sand and the water. And it's up to the very brim of this jar. And he says, now is the jar full? And they say, yes, there's no possible more thing that you could possibly put into this jar. So he says, what is the point? What is the point of what I just showed you? And this one student raises his hand and he says, the point is, no matter how full your schedule is, there's always room to fit in one more thing. There's always room to fit in, no matter how hard you try, you can fit in one more thing. And the instructor says, no, that's not the point. The point is, if you don't put in the big rocks first, you won't be able to put them in at all. So if you imagine that jar and they had put the water in first to the top, nothing else would fit, right? Or you'd put the other things and the water would spill out the top. So it's the same thing. So your top 3 priorities are your big rocks, and those need to go in first, always, or else the other things are going to fill in all those gaps, and your top 3 things that are the most important to you, that you say are the most important to you, are not going to get the full attention and effort and care that you intend for them, no matter what, because life is always pouring in more sand, pouring in more water, right? So we need to get those big rocks in there first. That's what I want for you today. I want you to write those down and really remind yourself whenever, an extra anything comes up, remind yourself of this. And I wanted to share with you my top 3 priorities. And so mine are wellness, my family, and my business. And I list wellness first because if I don't have my health, if I don't have my wellness taken care of, then I can't take care of my family and my business with as much effort and energy and care and love as I intend to put into those. So it has to be us first. We have to put into ourselves first. That is the only way that we're ever going to be able to give our best to everything else that we care so much about. So that is what I have for you. I hope that that starts your Monday off on a good note and gives you something to kind of anchor onto as this week and the next few weeks going into the new year progress, and just remind yourself daily, multiple times daily, what are those 3 big rocks for you? Okay, thank you so much for being on. Tomorrow, I do have a little announcement. I've been coming on at 10 a.m. Eastern time every single day, and I had every intention of maintaining that for every day of the 21 days. However, tomorrow I have an appointment, a doctor's appointment that I scheduled way back. It's one of those appointments that take forever to get. And so I scheduled it way back, I think in October, long before I ever planned this series of live. And so I can't come on at 10. I'll be on at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. I will still be here, but it'll be an hour earlier. Okay, so I just wanted you to be aware of that, and I'll post reminders for that too. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.